The James Show Podcast.
It's State Rep Brian Harrison, but before I talk to him, I want you to hear this clip. This is the state rep out of the Midlothian area on Steve Bannon's show. Remember him? Went to jail? And this is the rumor that I'm going to ask him about today.
I cannot confirm this with metaphysical certitude here, but I have this from so many sources now that what's really going on and why they're throwing law enforcement under the bus is because the leadership in Texas, including law enforcement, knows where multiple of these Democrat members are, including Democrat members that are holed up in Texas where we have clear jurisdiction to arrest them, but that they have made the decision not to arrest them because of factors like their gender and their race. And that damn well better not be true, and we need to get to the bottom of this, but that is what I'm hearing from multiple sources now, is that they have decided intentionally not to arrest these Democrats and just hope they show up.
Oh, my goodness. They're not arresting the fleeing Democrats in Texas because they're concerned about what? Political correctness? State Rep Brian Harrison now joins us. Is this true?
I gotta run. Thank you. Hey, this is Brian, and you know what, James? I wish I could tell you that was not true. And I can't, of course, prove this. I'm not in the cars with the troopers, but yeah, this is absolutely what I have heard numerous times from multiple people. Is that the reality is, despite all the dog and pony show about the arrest warrants and all of the, we're going to vacate their seats, we're going to arrest them, we're going to drag them back and make them do their job. What I believe to be the case is that multiple Democrats are, in fact, still holed up in Texas, not in Illinois or California, but in Texas, where we have clear, cut and dry, no question about it, authority to arrest them, bring them to the Capitol, and force them to do their jobs. But that a decision has been made by the leadership of the Texas government not to arrest them. And this is where it gets really infuriating. My understanding, we're going to blend some DEI with this redistricting. It may well be the case that because of Texas government's love for DEI, they are going to choose not to arrest Democrat lawmakers because of things such as their race and or their gender. And that is absolutely outrageous if this proves out to be true. But I've heard it from so many people that I actually do believe that is the case.
Well, who makes that call? Is that the governor's call? Is that the head of the DPS or the Texas Rangers? Whose decision is this?
So the people who are supposed to be, who issued these civil warrants and who made a big deal about it because they wanted the voters of Texas to believe that they were taking tough action on these Democrats. It's two people. It's the Speaker of the Texas House, who, when he did the call of the House, he signed the warrants, and then it's the governor of the state of Texas that made a big deal about the ordering the DPS, the Department of Public Safety, to assist the House Sergeant at Arms with the enforcement of these arrests. So we've had basically now 2 weeks of a lot of talk about arrests, but zero arrests. We've had almost 2 full weeks now of promises to vacate those rogue Democrats. Remember that a week ago, Monday, the governor said, if these Democrats don't show up by 3 p.m., I'm going to vacate them and kick them out of the legislature. 0 seats have been vacated. 0 arrests have been made. Hell, we haven't even touched their parking spots. They have all their committee assignments. They've got their committee chairmanships. They've got their seniority. We have done absolutely nothing. And then yesterday, our speaker gave everybody basically a 3-day hall pass and didn't even bother making people try and check in today for a quorum or tomorrow. And he's going to not try again until Friday. Well, what's Friday? Friday is the last day of this
special session. Yeah.
So we're done. It's over. The Democrats won, and the Republicans didn't even pretend to try and stop them.
So how does a guy like this win re-election? I mean, Dustin Burrows is just so beyond the pale against the will of the Republican voters. I mean, tell me guys like this are going to get just jettisoned immediately in the primaries.
Well, I firmly believe, and that's why I'm doing everything I can. I mean, it's exhausting. I've been on the media almost nonstop. I firmly believe in the people of the state of Texas. I have faith and confidence in the voters of the great state of Texas. And I believe that if the voters of Texas understood and knew the extent of the betrayal of their values and their principles, and the fact that they want their Republican leaders to stand up and fight for them, fight for the things that we believe in, for liberty and freedom and the next generation, and stand up to these liberal Democrats. If they know the information, they're going to boot these people out of office. But the problem is the liberal special interests give all these incumbents and these rhinos millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they spend the whole primary season basically campaigning out there, like they're the most conservative who's ever walked. I joke that every other March, every rhino establishment Republican turns into Ron Paul, for 2 months while they're running for a re-election.
Right.
And then they come down and campaign to the left of Mitch McConnell. And that's what's been going on in the Texas House for a long time. And people should not forget this speaker got elected by the Democrats. So it really shouldn't be any surprise that he's assisting them in the quorum break.
I'm not sure I even share that small sliver of optimism you gave there, because the voters, after Dade Phelan did the same thing to us in the last session, where he sided with the Democrats on all the most important issues, and you didn't get school choice, you didn't get a good property tax cut, you didn't get all the priorities that the Republican voters sent the representatives to Austin for. He won his primary. He's still in office. Now,
Yep.
He didn't get to be the speaker this time. They got another guy that's just like him to fill the suit. But no, I don't think we have a good history of learning our lesson and primarying out the rhinos.
One thing we've got to do to help with that, and it would have solved that problem, is we've got to close our primaries. I'm sick and tired of Democrats going in and meddling around.
Who controls that,
Republican primary? The legislature. If the legislature, and here's my point. See, all the stuff that Republicans believe to be true, voters, about their state government, it's not true that we're really a red state, a red government, really bold and conservative. It's not true. We still allow, the legislature of the state of Texas still allows Democrats to go crossover, vote in Republican primaries, and monkey around and pick our candidates. That's what happened with Dade Phelan. 2,000 Democrats flipped over and voted in that election. If only Republicans had voted in that election, Dade Phelan would have lost that seat. There's no question about that. So, but this is the same Texas legislature that funds DEI, that funds transgender indoctrination, that forces Texans to give billions of dollars to liberal Hollywood. The only thing that's truly Republican about the Texas legislature anymore is that people, these liberals running around Austin, call themselves Republicans. But the reality is we got a bunch of Democrats in disguise, this liberal Austin Uniparty that's been controlling Texas for far too long. Our government's getting bigger, spending's out of control, the bureaucracy is out of hand, liberty is going down, property taxes are out of control, and Texans are less free now than they were when this session gavelled in January. And that's why I'm doing everything I can to expose it. And you always joke that I bring you bad news on the show, and
terrible.
I hate that I have to do it. But Texans deserve the truth.
Well, that rumor sounds like it very well could be true, and that's so disappointing. State Rep Brian Harrison,
Yep.
Help me get that rhino list that we made out. I think that's really all we can do until the next primary system happens. But Brian Harrison, thank you for another terrible update of bad news on the James Show. I appreciate it, sir.
Great to be with you. God bless y'all. God bless Texas.
Worst guest of 2025, just over and over and over. Just 8 minutes of bad news straight. The redistricting battle continues, which means the fleeing Democrats to avoid a quorum continues, which means still no one getting arrested, so that's going to continue. 800-288-9227. If you have any comments on the situation, because, this is totally disappointing. If there are state reps in Texas and they're not getting arrested right now, that means the people who are calling off the dogs are complicit. They're not only complicit, they're now active participants. They're not just letting the bull run through the china shop. They are unlocking the door and opening it for the bull to run into the china shop. Then they're hitting it with the cattle prod a couple times to make sure it kills as many dishes as possible. Oh, this is bad, y'all. And this is bad in a way that can't be fixed until the next primary season. And then, if we don't do our due diligence and the other people who aren't paying as good attention as you are go out and vote these idiot rhinos back in, then we have to wait 2 more years to even try and take another swing at it. Steve in Carrollton. Oh, you know what, Steve? This is big, bad black conservative, right? That Steve?
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about getting you a theme song since you're overtly black and that's part of your description. I was thinking about using the black song from CB4. Have you seen CB4?
I think so.
It might be a little it might be a little before your time. It's an old Chris Rock movie. All right, just if you're not familiar, tell me if this works, and maybe we'll do this in the future.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black.
Stay with me.
And I'm black, y'all.
It gets a little more complex.
Black, blacker than black, black. I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black, and I'm black.
Wait a second, hang on.
Black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
Hang on. Almost done.
Black, 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 y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, because I'm black.
Okay, we're not going to play that the whole thing every time, but that song just cracks me up because, like in the movie, you thought they would just run it for 10 seconds, and you got to sit there for 30 seconds of this dude just repeating how black he is. Anyway, welcome to the show. What's your comment, Steve?
Well, a couple things. One of the things is Brian Harrison, who I know. Well, I don't know and love. May sound a bit too much, but I'm fond of most of his political leanings. But he was wrong when he said outright, "Hey, listen, the issue is the legislative body did not make the primaries closed." In fact, the Texas primaries are closed effective the last meeting the party had, the Republican Party had, the last statewide meeting that we had, last convention, I should say, that we had a year or so ago. We said they were closed. The SRAC, which is the legislative, not legislative body, but the group of people above the precinct chairs, also confirmed, yes, our election is closed. Our elections primaries are closed moving forward. Now, what's weird, or what's going to be weird come primary time, is because the legislative body did not make it official as far as they're concerned, we're going to have issues with people not knowing where to go. But as far as Texas law is concerned, everything that needs to be done has been done officially to make our primaries close. So when Democrats show up, we do have the ability to turn them away. The problem is Republicans don't know that, hey, well, they don't all know that, hey, listen, your polling place is going to change. Hopefully your county does what they're supposed to do to let you be aware, or to make you aware that our primaries are closed, but that's not necessarily going to be the case. I hope for the best, but it certainly would have helped had the Republican Party in the state house and of course the governor would have been nice for him to sign off on it too. It would have been nice for them to do that, but there's no way they will, because what? They get the votes, and that's what helps them stay in office. You know, do you really think that we were voting for our current governor to be governor after the shenanigans he pulled last time? Not just Dave Phelan, but several people just like him around the state. Several people just like him. But because, again, at the last convention is when we made those changes. At his last election, the change hadn't been made. You know, so yeah, the Democrats were helping then, but they don't have the ability to anymore.
So do we have open primaries in this coming primary or not? I got lost there.
No, we do not. We do not. The coming primary is closed. The law does not require the legislative body to approve of such things. See, the private parties does.
The main problem I have being a talk show host and being divorced from the two-party system, I don't feel like getting involved in either party because I feel like there's such a letdown, is I don't know what you know. You've actually gotten involved and you know the inner workings of these processes more than I do. And the more I meet people like you, the people that get involved, and you have a day job, you have a family, you have a life, you just take some of your free time and actually dig into this. You people have such an outweighing on the individual level of power that I feel like if we just had a few more people like you, and I mean like 1% of the population more like you, that we wouldn't have all this problem with rhinos. Rhinos wouldn't be able to get through the system. And I think ultimately, pardon? Yeah, from my mouth to God's ears.
God's ears.
Yeah,
because there's a lady. Here's a funny thing that happened, and you may or may not know about this. It just happened earlier this week. A lady decided she was going to run against, you may know this guy, Andy Hopper. He's a Wise County Republican representative. He is probably the most conservative Republican in the state, maybe nation. And I mean conservative Republican through and through, conservative Republican. This chick decides that she's going to run against him, and immediately after putting out her press release that I'm running for this seat, I think it's 64, House District, HD 64, I said, I'm running for this seat. Immediately, the people that she put in her press release that theoretically supported her came out with their own press release to say, bull crap, we do not support this clown. We support Andy Hopper. He's a wonderful guy. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm telling you that she's a terrible rhino. We all know her. She's a terrible, terrible rhino. But and of course, I haven't called her name on purpose. It's, if your audience cares enough, they can go and look it up. But the fact is, there are a lot of us, and if you look on Twitter, you'll see a lot of immediate responses for people jumping up and defending Andy Hopper, because he's been the most conservative rep and the one that we prayed for in the Texas House. He just can't do it by himself. We just need more people like him, not just like us, but like him in the state house and in the Senate, because the Senate, by the way, is not divorced from problems. The lieutenant governor has done a lot of things we don't necessarily approve of.
All right. Well, it's a good chat. This is Steve. You can find him online, the Big Bad Black Conservative. Did I say it right that time? Big Bad Black Conservative. Thank you very much for the inside look there. Appreciate it, sir. My next guest is the de facto legal analyst of the James Show, Jeremy Rosenthal, coming back on. And Jeremy, first thing I want to ask you about, you're a legal guy and we talk about constitutional things on a regular basis. Do you have any constitutional issues with the president seizing power in D.C.?
No. In fact, there's not even presently any legal challenge to it by the leadership in Washington, D.C., the mayor or anything like that. And I think the law recognizes that the president of the United States has some unique powers when it comes to the District of Columbia. So I don't know that anybody has any standing to challenge this. And hence there's not been a challenge. So no, I don't think there's any issues here.
Okay, well, didn't think there would be. However, there has been people saying, well, he's just going to do this in other cities. And then he was actually asked about it yesterday, and he's like, I don't know. We might use the National Guard in these other cities as well. How does the Constitution feel about that, Jeremy?
That's a lot tougher, and that's kind of what went on in California several months ago, which is actually in a trial this week. The president, you got to remember when you go back to the Constitution gives Congress the power to create the militia, and that goes to the states. It also gives the president some powers as well, but the statute that Congress used in creation of the National Guard gives the governor a lot more of the ability to dictate what the National Guard does. By law, the president can do several things, though, without the governor's consent, and this is what was litigated in California.
Okay.
The president can put down an insurrection in a state. He can prepare for an invasion from an outside entity, or if he does not feel like if he cannot be the chief executive, right? If he cannot enforce the laws of the United States, that's the executive's role. If he can't adequately do that, then he can try to do the National Guard or use the National Guard that way. That's the issue in California, because the courts have come back and say, well, you can't do it for any reason, Mr. President. You can't do it just because you want to do it because you're the president. You have to have a reason or a basis to do this, and that's the issue. So he can't just put troops on the streets of Chicago because he wants a photo op. There's going to have to be some type of legal issue, or that would be challenged.
All right, we're talking with Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. If you have any constitutional questions, just give him a call. But the other situation we're dealing with that I have legal questions on, we were talking with Brian Harrison a couple segments ago. He's a state representative out of Midlothian. And he was saying that for the state representatives who have fled to prevent a quorum, to prevent redistricting, we have the right to arrest them if they're in Texas. And the rumor is there are some of them in Texas and they're going unarrested. Is that a thing? You can just pick and choose like that?
Okay, so you would think that if they're not being the Texas Constitution gives the legislature the right to issue these civil warrants without a quorum, and they can direct a law enforcement person, and it's arrest really in name only. They pick up the legislator and they take them to Austin to the chamber so that they have a quorum. That's it. You're not going to jail. You're not, getting 3 hots in a cot. It's not one of those types of arrests. If there are legislators that are running around that are not in Austin, that have active warrants out for them, you would think that would be an issue. Now, I don't know how that legally gets processed, because when you're on Highway 121 in the North Dallas Toll Road, you get pulled over, the police officer can run you for warrants. That's different. That's a different database. So I don't know how they're communicating these types of warrants to other individuals and entities. So, so I don't know that there's any folks that are at home that are just going out there unarrested, but certainly you're subject to that arrest warrant if you are a legislator and you are running around in Texas. Then they can pick you up and take you to Austin.
You working on any cool cases these days?
Oh, it's all privileged. You know, that the wonderful thing about criminal law is that we can, when we win a case, we can get it expunged under Texas Penal Code of Criminal Procedure, Chapter 55, which means that it erases your arrest, which means I could say anything. It's like the stealth bomber. I could say, man, I've acquitted 5 million people and nobody would know whether I'm telling the truth or not, because it's erased. So, but yeah. A lot of cool stuff, James. A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And,
well, listen, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but one of my best friends is a lawyer, and I've learned just ask him that every once in a while, because sometimes he has a very good answer to that question. I don't know if he's not supposed to tell me, he just does or whatever.
Well, if we weren't on the radio and letting everybody in DFW know, the rules of privilege provide that I could probably divulge things so long as I don't divulge the identities of the people involved.
Yeah.
The rules of privilege in a criminal case are actually much stricter. Any fact, this is a fun fact, under Texas Rule of Evidence 503 B2, not that I've ever read that thing 5 million times, that's the special rule of privilege in criminal cases. And what that means is that any fact that I learn by way of representation in a criminal case is privileged. And consider this. Let's say, for argument's sake, somebody committed a murder.
Jeremy, I've got like 30 seconds.
This is a fun story,
Okay.
James.
Well, you want to hang on and tell me the rest?
Murder. Let's say they come to my office, and that's all that happens. And let's say they don't have any money and pay me. Just the fact they came to my office would be privileged. Just the fact that they came here, because that would be pretty interesting to law enforcement. That's the end of the story. That was it. That was it.
No, that works. And thank you for wrapping that up quickly. Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com is his website.
The James Show Podcast.